Welcome back. Part 2, Chapter 2. Kotler and Armstrong, Principles of Marketing. We'll start with the concept of the value chain. This is definitionally a series of departments that carry out value-creating activities to design, produce, market, deliver, and support a firm's product. So that is a concept put forth by or developed by Michael Porter. And before you leave the School of Business, you will be familiar with Porter's 5 forces, because in my marketing strategy class, it's part of that curriculum, and it's also part of Dr. Marshall's strategic management class, and probably principles of management. I don't know. I'm sure you'll hear it. You'll have it in 3 or 4 different classes. So the sooner you memorize and learn that, the better off you'll be. So I'll let you read that yourself, but let me give you a way to think about a value chain. It's a high-level concept, but it's not that hard to understand. Think of an iPhone, right? An Apple iPhone. So let's say that the retail on a particular iPhone that you're looking at is $1,000. Now, you know that it didn't cost Apple $1,000 to make it, right? If it was, they wouldn't be worth a couple $1 trillion because they wouldn't be making any money on it. So it cost them somewhat less than that to make that phone, distribute that phone, and either ship it to you or have you pick it up at Simply Mac, Apple Store, or Xfinity Store, or wherever you're going to get it, right? But you're willing to pay that $1,000 for it because it has a lot of value to you, or at least it has that much value to you. The value it brings to your, Uber Eats and email and texting and Snapchatting and TikToking and communicating, whatever else you're going to do. So if you think about all the materials that go into an iPhone, it's not anywhere near $1,000, right? It's some fraction of that, some small fraction of that. And then labor, of course, they're having problems about labor costs all the time because they've been busted for these, Asian labor camps where they're whipping little girls with sticks to make them make the things. Supposedly they've cleaned it up now, but who really knows? So let's say all the parts to put one together are a couple $100. Well, let's say they pay $100 to put it together and $100 to ship it. I believe that puts them at $400 to get it to the store. You walk in, you pay $1,000. Now, that's because putting all of those components together in the way they do it adds value to those components. In other words, the end product is not worth just what it costs to make it plus 10%, profit, or 20% profit. That's the concept of the value chain, because the value that it is to the consumer, you hope, is a lot higher than what it costs you to make it and get it there. That's the goal. For the least possible cost, you deliver the maximum value. Then you get that delta between $400 and $900, and that gives you a competitive advantage. All right? That's the value chain concept. Now, marketing strategy. Again, that's the logic that we want to create customer value and achieve profitable customer relationships. Relationships with customers, they buy from us over and over, use our products over and over. Each time They get value out of the relationship and the exchange. And that's what you want long term for any business, right? Not for any business. There's some businesses that want that. They just want a transaction. They're going to quit selling the things in a little while anyway, move on to something else. But so we're getting back to the marketing concept where we start with the customer and work our way back, and incorporating value into it and strategy, which is this chapter is about. So what's a good way to start? Now, a SWOT analysis, everybody's familiar with it. I'm sure if you're not now, again, you will be, because you'll have it, 3 or 4 more classes before you leave, is a good way, in my opinion, to think about anything. Before you think about, dating a boy or a girl, you should put a SWOT analysis on them. Strengths, they're pretty clean. Weaknesses, their family's crazy. Opportunities, he's in college, so maybe he won't always be dumb. Threats, that's another cute fellow that sits across the room. Whatever. Getting a mortgage, getting a dog, whatever. We're going to talk about business here, but I'm involved in a committee right now on campus that's working on a SWOT analysis for Dalton State College, where we're strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strengths and weaknesses, in our example for Dalton State, are internal to the school. We're thinking about what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. And then opportunities and threats are external to the firm and external to Dalton State College. So, COVID-19 pandemic, we have to go under threats for about everything. So if you were looking at doing a marketing analysis and you worked for Unilever and the product line was Ben and Jerry's ice cream, then a SWOT analysis would be a good tool to use. Talk about its strengths, its weaknesses. It's a little pricey, but the strengths are it's a premium brand, have very loyal customers. Opportunities, maybe we could sell it in places that we don't sell it now, right? Maybe we could partner with McDonald's and sell Ben and Jerry's ice cream. That wouldn't be a good idea for Ben and Jerry's because it's a premium brand, and McDonald's is not viewed as a premium outlet. Let's say we partnered with, I don't know, maybe a restaurant a little bit better than that, Longhorn or something, and offered Ben and Jerry's ice creams. And then threats, people quit eating ice cream, or the economy takes a bad downturn and people just spending money on the essentials, which doesn't include premium ice cream. All right, so that's roughly a SWOT analysis. What one is, what one looks like. So we'll talk segmentation and targeting and positioning here for a minute. So we want to know what part of the market, right, has a group of buyers that are going to react in a similar way to the advertising we're about to do. So because time and money are finite resources, right? They're not limitless. Everybody has a short amount of, or a limited amount of time and a limited amount of resources. So you would undergo some segmentation and just carve the market up, looking for that group of people that you have decided would be good prospects for your good or service. Okay, so people with newly married couples with babies, and our business is a daycare. If we segmented up the market in a county where we lived, and then we would drop out everybody who was 50 or over, figuring if any of those have small babies or small toddlers, that's going to be odd. We're going to have adopted them or taken over for their child that was no good or something. And we're going to find us a market segment of a group of people who we think will respond in a similar way, right? So young marrieds with or young people with kids, right? That recently we get that information, out of a big data set. So it's different than target marketing. After you segment it up, you pick one or maybe two segments that you think, based on market research, are good prospects for you. Okay, and then we would target those markets. Market positioning is a different concept altogether. That is the position that a product has in the customer's mind. Okay, so a lot of times I use aspirin as an example. Aspirin has been around since the Egyptians, thousands of years, right? And for nearly all of those years, it was used as a pain reliever. And baby aspirins were given to small children. Regular size aspirins, adults took for headaches, aches and pains, toothaches, things like that. And then they found that a baby aspirin could also help prevent heart attacks in adult men, maybe women too. I know adult men. So now when you see Bayer aspirin advertised, you don't see it advertised as a headache remedy or to help a baby's toothache. You see it where the guy's, falls out and they're hauling him into the ambulance. They're, cramming a Bayer 81 milligram aspirin in his mouth. And he says, boy, if I hadn't had that aspirin, I would have croaked. That's positioning. The name of the product's the same. The brand's the same, Bayer. Product's the same, aspirin. Okay, they didn't change anything except they position it now. They put on the label, it'll help reduce heart attack risk. That's an example of market positioning. The position that occupies a clear, distinctive, and desirable place relative to competing products in the mind of our target consumers. And again, our target consumers would be men above the age of 40, I believe, is where they think you should start taking one a day. And then we have the concept of differentiation, right? You want to be different. You don't want to be a me too. You want to be different. Even big box retailers like Walmart and Target, they're viewed differently, right? And part of that is the positioning that each store has undertaken. Walmart has spent millions of dollars advertising the cheapest prices on everything. Target has not. Even though the prices are similar, that's not what they do. They are like the premium version of of Walmart. And that's how they differentiate themselves. Think of all the motel and hotel chains. They all do little different things to differentiate themselves. And it would be tough to say, we're going to open a big box retailer just like Walmart and go head to head with them. Well, that wouldn't be smart. The idea would be, instead of going head to head with Lowe's and Home Depot, let's get in the home repair business, but we will do it a little differently somehow. We'll locate in neighborhoods rather than out on the highway. So we talked about the 4 P's earlier. I think in chapter 1 of product, price, place, and promotion, if you remember. And the place is sometimes referred to as a D, 3 P's and a D, for distribution. So the set of controllable, tactical marketing tools is tactical short-term or long-term. I'm by myself, but I know I just heard 30 people say short-term. Or at least that's the dream world I want to live in. That you blend to produce the response you want from the target market. So here's a chart. You could see product, price, place, and promotion. That makes up the marketing mix, right? So we have, let's say our product is, let's say Ben and Jerry's. So we've got a brand name that we like, we want to keep. It has a good reputation. It's quality, and we have a variety of flavors. Okay, our price. How are we going to price it? List price is always the highest, so we're going to say it's a premium. We're going to price it that way. We're not going to discount it or sell it on terms, right? You should, if you can't afford some ice cream, you got bigger problems. Where are we going to sell it? What kind of locations are we going to sell it in? Quick stops? Food City? Or Whole Foods? It depends how we want to position it. As a premium product, we wouldn't sell it in a quick stop. Maybe not even Food City. Maybe only Whole Foods, but I'm sure, I guess Food City probably has them. The channels we're going to use to get it there, we're going to let them truck it, or we're going to truck it, or whatever. Transportation logistics, we have a major in that, by the way. And then, how are we going to advertise? Are we going to rely on word of mouth, or free press, unearned media, public relations? Or is it going to require a ton of personal selling? No, Ben & Jerry's is not. And we talked about personal selling really being involved in what we call unsought goods. So that is, I hope that did not knock me off. Okay, it did not. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so all these things contribute to us putting our efforts, directing our efforts to our target customers that we've already decided on, and how we want it positioned, right? So we have the marketing mix, and we developed an integrated marketing plan based on our decisions. And it's just that easy. Of course, it's not easy, but it's a principles class. So that's the way it works. I'm going to show you this slide right here real quick. I'm going to post another post about this tool you can use, and I'll explain it there. It's a Prism tool, and same people that do television ratings, same company owns it, but you can see what's going on in your neighborhood, and it'll kind of give you a feeling for how companies segment a market, but on a very basic level. Okay, so with that said, that is the second half of chapter 2, and stay tuned for the market segmentation tool. I'll show you how to use it, and you can, I want everybody to try it, at least on your home zip code, see what it says. All right, I will see you later.